Hello, everyone. This is Bert Langell. Thank you for coming. Please interact. And before I forget it, I wish you all a great 2024. Isn't it unbelievable that we're now in 2024? The older we get, the faster time goes. Now, do you ever suffer anxiety speaking English in meetings? Are you ever nervous about getting up? I know it's a common problem. Most of my students, clients always say, "Hey, I'm just not confident in my English." It doesn't matter how good they are, they just will always say it. When I want to speak in a meeting, I just can't overcome the fear. I feel uneasy about it. I lose my ideas. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I'm always nervous before I do one of these. I'm always kind of wondering if I'll look stupid. We have this little guy on our shoulder that tells us that we're not always that great, that we make mistakes and we have to be careful. And that kind of holds us back, doesn't it? So let's get into this. And please introduce yourself. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'd like to do anything I can to help you. So let's talk about anxiety and what it means to us. Can anybody let me ask you, do you ever feel anxious in a meeting when you're going to speak in English? Do you ever have a problem putting your thoughts together? Help me out here. I don't want to be by myself in this presentation. I'd like it to be interactive. And by the way, where are you located? What brought you to this meeting? Why are you here? Okay. Look at some of these people. These people are not native English speakers, but they've done really well. They get up and they speak at meetings. Now, it's kind of sad. A couple of these people, I believe, are not with us any longer, at least one of these people. But they were very successful. And what's the difference? What do you think? Why were these people successful and so many other people can't achieve their vision? There's something that holds them back. And I would guarantee you that there are people in this meeting today who have probably better English than some of these people had. But it didn't hold them back from speaking. They had to speak. They had to communicate. What's the difference? How do we change this? I would say the first thing is having a vision of ourselves. If we don't have a vision, then we can't keep up the work and the effort that it takes to do our English. And do we allow language barriers to affect our lives? Do we allow the fear to keep us from doing something? I hope not. But it's something that we constantly have to work on. As I said, I'm always nervous about doing these things. I always get up extremely early in the morning for one of these sessions just to make sure I've gone over the material several times and I won't forget something, which I always do. But what about, I had one student who spoke good English, but she was very nervous to speak. And one day she said, "Bert, I lost my job. My boss told me I wasn't speaking enough in meetings and my English wasn't good enough. Well, her English was good enough. I've taught hundreds of people. I've worked with many executives and different professionals, and her English was very good. She had a bit of an accent, but her English was good. But it was a case of mindset. It was a case of letting her fears control her life. And I've had many people who are just about native level in English tell me the same thing. Not that they necessarily were fired, but I have executives who are telling me that they're worried about keeping their jobs because they don't feel they can speak properly in meetings, or their confidence is holding them back. I think that's the key. It's their confidence. We need to project confidence in what we do. We can't just say we think this. We have to express that we mean it. Uh, we need the language to, and we need to think before we speak, but think of the idea. Don't just be thinking of the English words, and don't be overthinking what you're saying. Get your language out there. Project yourself. Talk in the meeting. Show them who you are. Let people remember you. We don't mind. Natives don't mind. I had no problem with my associates in Colombia and that when we had an office there, or in Mauritius. Uh, I appreciate their accent and that. And I understood that they might get a preposition wrong or something stupid like that. It doesn't matter. It's all about communication. Uh, I wish somebody would comment. Can you hear me? Is there nobody here? Tell me about yourself. Where are you? Are you in Brazil? Are you in Chile, Puerto Rico, Mexico, somewhere in Europe? Let me know. Anyway, so language, if you get this confidence, you're going to propel your career to new heights. But you need to build your confidence. Now, you do need some basic skills. There's no question about it. I would say you need to get to the upper intermediate level to be really proficient at using your English for work. But at that point, it's all about top of mind. It's all about having informal and formal words and a few chosen idioms to show people that you are confident. And it's like doing presentations, right? We need to look around the room. If it's virtual, we need to keep our eyes on the screen. We need to consider our body language. We need to consider our tone. I hope my tone is not preachy. I don't mean to be giving a sermon. And I have a quiz. It's really 10 thought-provoking questions about how you use your English and what circumstance in meetings and that you would feel you have difficulty. It give you a kind of a zero base point where you can say, okay, this is where I am, and this is where I want to go to. It's really important, isn't it? We have to know what the present situation is prior to making changes. I put this quiz in my comments, and if you do the quiz, I will send you an email with comments about your quiz, and we can, if you want to chat someday, I'm always available. Not always available. I do 10 to 15 meetings with my clients a week. I try to keep it there, but I do make a lot of time available during my days and that to have a short chat and talk about English. I love talking about helping people with their English communications. As I said, my name is Burton Langell, and they always spell it wrong. And that's okay. Now, so we need to, as I was saying, we need to visualize our success. We need to focus on what we are good at, not what we are challenged with. We can work on what we're challenged with, but we need that confidence. We need to, you're probably 90% there, which is pretty fantastic, isn't it? And just often what I do is I just help people polish their English for business purposes and build their confidence and get the intonation that we use in English and the proper pronunciation. If the accent is really strong, we'll do a few exercises to reduce the accent. But usually we find a foreign accent very interesting in an English meeting. So, yeah. And what kind of leader are you? Okay, Esther, thank you for standing up and speaking or communicating. I wish this was a Zoom meeting and then I could hear your voice. So you're in Brazil. I feel bad about my English. The worst part is that I lost many good opportunities to add value in meetings and afraid not to be able to organize my ideas in a good English way. Yeah, and I bet anything, Esther, your English is pretty good. I wish my Spanish was probably 10 or 20% as good as your English, I bet. Now, I appreciate your honesty. This is what I hear from a lot of people. This is something that people overthink, and it's a problem that generally doesn't exist. We want to hear people express themselves. And there's just a few little tips about how to disagree with somebody in a professional and polite way, how to ask somebody their name if you've introduced yourself and they forgot to give it to you. Very simple thing. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Could you give it to me again? Things like that. How to give our opinion in a meeting, how to organize it. Sometimes we want to hedge it. We don't want to put all our kind of energy in it. We might say, in my opinion, and from what I've heard, I would like to say we may want to consider these other options. I really like the ideas that you've brought forward, and I would like to add this to it. Or could you please clarify what you've been saying? The way I understand it is this. Maybe I'm wrong. So when we say things like that, it's very respectful. It sounds very professional, as you are. All my clients are professional IT and business people, and they have MBAs and they have degrees in computer science and everything else, and have been successful in their own country and business and want to join the global economy. And they can do it. You can do it. Just a little bit of work. But we need a vision. We really need to see ourselves as this person in the picture, being a leader, showing who you are, speaking your ideas. And thanks very much, Esther. I really appreciate it. And just call me Bert. Most people call me Bert, B-U-R-T. What I do is a very structured kind of program. I know IT and business people don't have a lot of time, and they've generally have reached a very good level in English by the time they come to me, but they haven't got the confidence and the finesse. Just, I need to polish it. So we work on targeted language. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate you coming. Utilize technology when you can. So emails, run it through ChatGPT and Grammarly. It can help a lot. I really don't spend a lot of time on writing emails and that. We just talk about etiquette. Understanding the nuance of working with Canadians, Americans, Europeans, and that is important. Our business customs are quite different. So we cover that sort of thing. And setting realistic goals. One of my students told me that she was going to study English for an hour a day. It would be good if she used English for half an hour a day or 20 minutes a day. By the time you've reached a certain level, it's not so much about studying as the actual doing, the production of English. That's what's important. That's what will perfect your English. If you feel like it, send me a 1 minute, 2 minute recording and just let me know in the comment or DM me, and I'll give you my number that you can DM me, or you can WhatsApp me with a recording. But doing these recordings, picking up your cell phone and speaking in it is incredibly good. I guarantee you 30 days of doing that, it's I'd say it's about a 15-minute exercise. Read something, see something, think about something, watch something, and then just take your phone out. Consider your ideas that you want to present for a moment. Don't write them down and just speak. Then listen to yourself, do a self-assessment, and you can send it to me also. I'll give you the real points. I won't sugarcoat it, but I'm not going to bring you down either. We need to keep our energy up. This is incredible. This is the best thing you can do. The other thing I'd like you to do is before a meeting, read English out loud. Open your English mind. My students are constantly telling me that when they do this before a meeting, their English is so much better. And I see it. Usually when I meet with somebody, we read a couple paragraphs first, and I just see just a complete change in their English. It may be temporary, but it's very helpful. So before a meeting, just go to a quiet place and just read it a little bit out loud. This will bring your vocabulary, bring your pronunciation, bring your intonation, everything up, improve your grammar. It's very powerful. Cultivating the right mindset, overcoming fear. Fear is the enemy. President Roosevelt said, all we have to fear is fear itself. Fear is what holds us back. We need to get over it. So we need to practice mindfulness. We need to meditate. We need to see ourselves. We need to keep affirming to ourselves that we are good in these skills and that people want to hear you. And when you speak and you are heard with thoughtful ideas, and maybe if you're expressing a problem, I'd like you to recommend a solution also. When I ran companies and that, one thing that would bother me would be people who were coming and complaining, but not bringing ideas on solutions. And I appreciate when people present solutions and ideas and that, and identify problems. I'm not saying I'm against identifying problems. That's how we move ahead. But be ready to present your solutions also. Enhancing your communication skills. We've already talked about this. Key phrases, expressions for meetings. Yeah, it's very limited. You'll notice if you listen to 100 English meetings, you would hear us using the same idioms, the same phrasal verbs, the same expressions over and over again. It's not rocket science. It's very, very easy. once you've got your basic English, and we focus on your pronunciation, intonation, and a few things like that, and just some very surgical work on having a few good idioms, a few understanding phrasal verbs and different things like that, you're going to be a star. And all my students, I do a 10-week program, and they all come out of it very, very confident. It's really, it's not a big deal. Just we make it, we say in English, we turn a mole into a molehill or into a mountain. It's, we just totally overthink things, don't we? Does anybody else have any comments? Esther was so brave there and spoke and wrote her English. I'd like to hear from other people. Where are you? Can you actually hear me? Do you agree with me? I don't care if you disagree. I like that. I heard something interesting. We're not supposed to talk about politics, but sometimes it gets people talking. It seems like in most countries now we have these populist governments and we have liberal governments. One of the great thinkers said that populists who generally call themselves conservatives, but are not conservative spending money, have caused a problem because there are no fiscal conservatives around anymore. They're all libertarians, and they spend money and the liberals spend money. So who's watching the purse? Anyway, here's some talking about politics. So listen to these key expressions. Get a few of them down. Think about more formal language and more polite and professional ways to give your opinion, disagree, interrupt in a very professional way. These are all little skills that we can work on. This is my program, so I focus on language for meetings, presentations, and that, developing clear and natural communication, pronunciation, making sure your pronunciation is right, is English, it's not Portuguese or it's not Spanish. And also your intonation follows the simple English rules for intonation. It's very simple. And practice will just build those neural networks in your mind. How to deliver effective presentations. We can include this if you feel it's necessary. I try to build a course that has 10 lessons over 10 weeks that will ideally solve your English challenges and build your confidence. It's all about building confidence. And afterwards, I keep in touch with my clients and just make sure that it's working for them. This is my retirement business. I was in business for 30 some years. My brother and I actually started a company that had over a $2 billion capitalization. It was pretty exciting, trading on New York and Toronto. And I was in the insurance business for many years, and I was very, very fortunate. And and I had failures in business too, but I tried to forget about them. Although I know I have to remember the lessons I learned from them. We learn more from business failures than successes sometimes. So overcoming language anxiety. This is going to propel your career. This is something is probably the biggest problem that people have. And it's a problem that you can solve. And if you want my help, we'll solve it together. But you do some of these little exercises I spoke about today, and it's going to help you. It's going to happen, and you're going to do better in your career, be it business or IT or whatever. Good communication skills are going to make a difference. And it's not what you learn from your teachers in Brazil or Chile or whatever. It's the nuances of working in an English environment. It's all about the directed language. It's all about the mindset. It's all about responsive listening, listening very carefully. There are some good books for idioms. That sounds really good. There's one, I use the English Club. I think it's called the English Club. And they have a very inexpensive book there. I think it's 1,000 English idioms. But really, I cover some idioms in my courses and that. And I generally often have free Saturday practice sessions with my clients. And we go over idioms and that there. I suggest that you don't learn more than 5, 7, 8 idioms that you're going to use all the time. Most English people probably don't have any more than that in their repertoire. So don't spend your time memorizing idioms. Just have a few that just match what you do in your career. That's my advice. And really, I'm an anti-study guy. I don't want you studying. Once you reach a certain point, maybe 10% of the time you spend studying, 90% I want you speaking. I want you recording. I want you being heard. I want you reading out loud, recording yourself. It's really hard. I know we don't like the sound of our voices, but it makes all the difference in the world. Nothing will propel your English to higher levels as doing recordings. And I'm so happy to listen to them. Anybody's here, just do it. And if you do that quiz, it'll give us a way to communicate also. And I'll go over each quiz that I see and give you some ideas. I'm here to help. And my program is very low cost, and I guarantee it will make a difference in your career. And if it's something even that point that you just can't afford, I have free courses, and I have very, very low price courses and that to help specifically for certain needs. Anyway, communicate with me. I'm here to help you. And any other questions? And Esther, I really appreciate your help. Where were all the other people? After this, I'm going to look at it, and I'll probably see there were 15 or 20 people that were listening to me and didn't give me any questions or anything. Stand up. Time to type a little message. And guess what? When I type messages fast, I generally spell things wrong and make little mistakes and that sort of thing. So don't worry about it. Now, does anybody else have anything to say? And I hope everyone has a fantastic 2024. I wish you the best. And I hope you have a great weekend coming up. It's maybe it's a little hard getting out of that holiday season, isn't it? And I know in places like Brazil, this is sort of vacation time, isn't it? And the kids are home from school and things are happening. And it's been super hot in the south, whereas here, it's only +1 here in Nova Scotia, Canada. I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, right beside the Atlantic Ocean. So it's sour winter. I'm looking out my window. I see a little bit of snow or frost on the roof of my garage. So thank you very much. I hope you got something from this. And as I say, I'm always available. Have a great day. And let's talk sometime. Thank you.